not deal with men anymore.
Movement.
I don't know if that's completely.
That's what I said.
I don't know if that's completely correct.
You're 4B now.
I don't know if that's completely correct.
4B means no men. I don't think women trust men anymore.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Like, just generally speaking, I don't think women trust men anymore. So then it makes them not trust even the ones that are trustworthy.
Is your argument that modern women are no longer allowing themselves to perpetually put up with being treated terribly and therefore they don't have value as women in relationships?
That's a wild spin. That's not what I'm saying.
But it kind of sounds like it. Well, 70% of divorces are initiated by women because they are the ones who are unhappy because it doesn't benefit women to be married or to be in a relationship. It benefits men. That's why they want to stay.
Told you. This is going to be a good one.
When I was a young child, I would see older women, right, who are single. Mm-hmm. And I would think, oh, how horrible, right? It must be so sad. You don't have a companion. You're living on your own. And, you know, sometimes like in talking to them, especially working in industries where there was a lot of women, like hair salon, for example. Mm-hmm. A lot of women come in and they have conversations, and you're younger, you're listening. And I would sometimes think, oh, this is coming from such a bitter place. You probably had really bad experiences, but not all men are like this. And you'd ask them, like, don't you want to be with someone? No, I love being single. I just want to travel, take care of myself until the day that I die. Mm-hmm. And I used to think that's so sad. These women are bitter. How could you talk like that? And then as I have gotten older, I understand them completely now. I understand them completely. Being single is often the better choice because of the fact that what you think, what's sold to you by media, by religion, Disney, is not really what you get. And that's why women, for the most part, get into relationships. It's because of what they were sold. And then when they get into the situation of a relationship or a marriage and they realize none of the things that they were sold is actually factual, they want to leave.
Wow.
And that's why I think 70%, I think it's 70%, maybe it's higher now, 70% of divorces are initiated by women because they are the ones who are unhappy because it doesn't benefit women to be married or to be in a relationship. It benefits men. That's why they want to stay.
Told you. This is going to be a good one.
I recently just watched all of the Twilight movies. I don't know why. I just thought it was fun. And by the end of the movies, I was like, these are horrible relationships. And everyone I was watching with was saying, like, no, when we were 16, like, that was the ideal relationship. Like, that's what every girl wanted, was they wanted an Edward. I'm like, Edward is like a terrible person. Like, it's awful.
I'm not familiar with Twilight. What is Edward? What's his character?
He's controlling. He sneaks into her room and watches her sleep. When he doesn't, when he thinks that she's in danger, rather than talking to her and working on it together, he just says he doesn't love her and like abandons her for a while. He's emotionless. He's jealous. He's all of these things. He's a very bad person.
Like Joe from You.
Yeah.
Like Joe.
Pretty much, yeah.
But
which is, I think, what makes that show so powerful, because Twilight, it's like the vampire, the Dracula, it's the vampire thing, the vampirism love story. I was a huge fan of Vampire Diaries when I was in college.
You were.
It was almost embarrassing how much I was watching that.
Okay.
And it's all the tropes of like, all these things are endearing and attractive through the lens of women because she likes the guy. But if she didn't like him, all these things are crimes. They're all crimes. They're literally all crimes.
Scary.
Like, she'll turn the corner. What are you doing here, Damien? Why is the man in your house? Yeah. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
But and I don't know why. Yeah, teen, probably for you, what I remember you used to watch. I shouldn't have been watching it. I'm sorry, Mom, but you remember this? Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
And
what's wrong with Buffy?
So, okay, her love story with Angel's like that. He tries to kill her once, and she's like, I understand you, Neil. I'm like, this is insane.
No, but because like Joe. I remember, so when I first started watching you, right? My girlfriend thinks I'm crazy, but I'm like, I get him. Like, I understand where he's going with it. It's just that he took a wrong turn. But
do you feel that way now? Because obviously they ended the show. Did you finish it?
I didn't watch the last season.
Because they tried to make good on all that. Because you're not wrong. Even season 1, I think even the actor, I can't remember his name, Penn Badgley.
Yeah.
Gave an interview and he's like, you guys aren't supposed to like this guy. Yeah. You know, like women, I'll tell you, Joe. And he's like, this is like.
But he's very likable.
But I think they started most serial killers are likable.
Well, there you go.
Like he wouldn't get close to you if he wasn't likable.
True.
A recent study predicted that 45% of women between the ages of 25 to 44 will be single and childless by 2030. What does that say to you?
Do you want to go first?
So this is on here because you gave me the
Yes,
stats. So I'll let you tackle it.
Okay. So why do I think this is?
Yeah.
Okay. So the reason why I think that is kind of like what I was saying before. Women are realizing that marriage doesn't benefit them. The idea of marriage was to benefit men. Even when you look at, Christianity, the Bible, right? I grew up Christian, so I'm going to use that as a point of reference. A man who finds a wife finds a good thing. The idea of marriage is for a man to find this good thing that provides all of these things for him to live a particular lifestyle. There is no benefit to the woman other than this man is going to protect you from the big bad wolf, right? So when the big bad wolf comes, don't worry, this man's strong enough, he's going to protect you from that. And you are going to live this really nice, cushy life. Now, that's what it's supposed to be. So now, we're in 2025. Depending on where you live, we live in fairly safe communities. There is no big bad wolf, right? The likelihood, I live in Oakville, the likelihood of something terrible happening to me is really low, right? Okay. And then there's security systems, there's dogs, I can get a gun license. I think I'm gonna be all right. And then the cushy life that we're supposed to get, I can provide that cushy life for myself. So there has to be something other than protection and provision now for women that's going to make marriage attractive. The only thing other than those things is most women understand, for the most part, that to have children, it's better to have that child or children in a structure, right? And so if women are not seeing the point of being married, they are not going to also see the point of having children because they understand that there needs to be mom and dad. There needs to be a foundation for the child, at least for the best rearing.
So the question is, what does the statistics say to me?
Yeah.
That in that time, okay, here we go. This is Opposites React, by the way, brought to you by Spoke Network. I think it says to me that more and more women are failing to understand what's required of them as partners. Okay. Yeah, and I think I think we talk about it all the time when we talk about. I say grandma, you say so. We're related. Yeah. So we talk about it all the time, and I'm sure we would both agree. A woman like grandma just does not exist ever again. Will never exist ever again.
Yes.
It shouldn't exist because grandma's probably gone through a lot of stuff that she shouldn't have gone through.
Correct.
But I still would say that being that way helps a partnership. Okay. And I think that it is on us as society to raise men that are better suited to appreciate women that are best or that are committed to growing a strong partnership. Like I would argue that the way that grandma is, or the way that some women are suited to, okay, we're gonna fix this partnership. We're gonna work this out. Like a business arrangement. Like okay, if we're running a business together and something is going wrong in the business, there's one energy that says, like even in school projects, you know what, man, this is not going the way we thought it was. We're out of here. And we've all been in those school projects where, hey man, like we've gone in the wrong direction, or maybe our interpretation of what this was historically is wrong and we got to redo it. And you love being in those partnerships where their agreement is, hey, we're going to sit here all night. We're going to redo this Bristol board. We're going to add this. I'm going to take, and we're going to have this project. And when you show up the next day to class after knowing the near miss you just had, you almost feel so much more rewarding. It feels so much more fulfilling.
So that longevity. That longevity, I'm going to be here. We're going to work this out.
Yeah. I believe in the merit of my partner. I believe, and on both sides. Look, and I'm not saying men haven't contributed to this, but the biggest thing I noticed is I don't think women trust men anymore.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Like just generally speaking, I don't think women trust men anymore. So then it makes them not trust even the ones that are trustworthy. So then it leads to why so many of them will be single and childless by that time, because they did not allow the relationships. Every relationship has a period of time of growing pains. Mm-hmm. We live in a modern society where women think any sign of growing pains is a sign of pains forever, and they just don't stick it out.
So
and men, and depending on the man, again, it's like, I do believe women set the market. My mom told me this when I was a kid. The beauty of Helena Troy launched ships. The world spins on a man's desire for a woman. This is what I understand. But women have also adjusted it that men are spoiled for choice. Bad men get good women these days. So it's like, if I think I'm a good man and you're giving me a problem, I also don't want to do this anymore. So you are going to be unmarried and childless because I don't know why you're being this way.
But remember, this is unmarried and childless by choice. This is not, so the study is, this is their choice.
I'm sure that's how they're saying it
they're actively choosing to be single. So
after having chosen to not be. Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
well, yeah, like they tried it out and they realized.
So this is not a choice.
No, but
it's like involuntary celibate, right? Like a lot of those guys say, yeah, this is my choice. No, you just can't get a date.
No, but the women can get men. They're choosing to not be with them.
Is your argument that modern women are no longer allowing themselves to perpetually put up with being treated terribly, and therefore they don't have value as women in relationships?
That's a wild spin. Well, that's not what I'm saying.
But it kind of sounds like it.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that, okay. No.
It sounds a bit like what you're saying is women today won't let themselves be treated terribly, and therefore...
Like in the old days where they just stuck it out.
Yeah, where women didn't have the ability to instigate a divorce and therefore had to stick through...
The success of any partnership is in your ability to survive the beginning stages where the results are not as you would want. Mm-hmm. Nothing starts out immediately as you would want it. Mm-hmm. Not when you're building a sports team. Yeah. Not when you're building a business. Not when you're in a relationship. So I'm not saying that women lack the ability to get treated poorly, because I think that makes it seem as if the men aren't also being treated poorly in that. We're framing the question as if men are only the perpetrators. I'm making a commentary on my perception that women no longer have the endurance to survive the inevitable beginning of building any partnership of any kind.
I think certainly there are people of any gender who will give up on a relationship the moment it's difficult. I see more frequently that women are giving up on men because the product is poor and not worth their time. I have a number of single friends who are dating, and it becomes harder and harder to defend men when I hear about their experiences, because it's disgusting.
Yeah.
And that used to be me. I used to be like, no, maybe it's the men that you're choosing. Until I realized it's
and we need to stop acting like it's not.
It is.
I have yet to meet, and maybe you could correct me if I'm wrong. You could correct me if I'm wrong, because I know some of the friends. When a woman comes to me and says, "Hey, this is who I'm dating," I've yet to be totally surprised when that goes left. I saw it right away. Sure. This looked like it wouldn't work, and you chose to do this. We could talk about where your confidence is at. We could talk about where your friend group is at. We could talk about a whole number of things as to why you made this choice that the rest of us saw was a terrible idea. I've been there. I made a bad choice that a bunch of people saw was a bad idea, and I can make an honest assessment of where I was at. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that women as a whole, or the partnership as a whole, is flawed. I in myself made a flawed choice, and then I in myself tried to make that flawed choice correct. It could not be made correct. That is not a commentary on the status of men or women.
But I think that a lot of men would be a flawed choice, which is why, hold on now, which is why a lot of women are choosing to just not do it. Because it's like you go to the grocery store and you have a lot of bad apples, right? 70% of the apples are bad. And then I come home with 6 apples and 4 of them are bad. And you say to me, you just keep making bad choices, but the choices are bad. So
are we saying that 70% of men are bad?
I just threw out a number when it came to the apples, but I think okay, we all grew up in this same society, right? Yep. So we were all told and absorbed the same messaging. Yep. If we are all absorbing the same messaging, most of us are going to believe the same things.
Yeah.
We're going to more or less move the same way.
Yeah.
So I think what we have now is a problem. And because of the messaging men were given, it's almost as if they feel entitled to women. Like women should be theirs. And it doesn't require a lot of work from them, right? So the years that you're referring to where, you know, this project and we need to sit down and we need to figure it out and piece these things together, what my experience is that I'm seeing women are the ones that are putting in the work. Women are the ones who are going to counseling. Women are the ones who are, you know, trying to level up. They're going back to school. They're reading books. They're trying to get to a place of just bettering themselves, where I am seeing a lot of men. If I look at the men that I knew or the boys that I knew in high school and now as men, they're still mentally in the same place. So now women are outpacing men intellectually, emotional intelligence, they're outpacing them. Just in general, like school, men don't like go to school. They don't go to college. They don't try to better themselves. And a lot of them, if you say to them, you know, maybe you need to go to counseling for this trauma, for what happened with you and your dad, they don't actually see the point of that, especially if they make money.
Yeah.
If they make money, they think, well, why? I'm doing well for myself.
Yeah.
They can't see beyond, well, I need to be a whole person showing up in this relationship.
We're going to have to go a bit meta here because I do not disagree with what you've said. But I think that, oh my goodness, I think that women are a contributing factor to that. And the reason I say that is because, and I've seen it from high school, and I saw it in college, and I see it as a young adult. The men that we are talking about, and very smart, able-bodied, intelligent women that I think should be the ones holding the line and saying, you know what, the guy who doesn't go to counseling, doesn't have his life put together, doesn't live on his own, isn't emotionally intelligent, can get no access to me.
That's what the women are saying.
Right.
That's what the women are saying.
No. But,
they're saying, I am done.
But,
that's the no access.
Cool. And right. But let's go to another direction. Why? Okay. I want to make sure I say this properly. The women who say this, oh, men, this, man, don't pick men like that. I'm not telling you don't sit it out. But to come and say I'm sitting it out forever, as opposed to having done the middle ground, which you should have, which is, hey, I'm going to sit it out until something that meets the standard I'm talking about comes to me. But you can't keep taking up projects, clear projects, and say, man, I'm so surprised at what's happening here.
But this is what I'm trying to explain to you. They're all projects.
No, but
they're all projects.
Universally,
in one
both
way
women,
or another.
Universally, both women and men, from a society perspective, are responsible for the women and men that exist in their sphere. I'll explain what I mean. When I was younger, I used to talk to friends, you know, especially in the age of social media, guys will look at different pictures, girls and their lifestyle. Men will say it all the time, man, I can't talk to that girl. She's too expensive. Mm-hmm. Man, I couldn't have a chance with this girl. In high school, it was, you know, a girl who's pretty, looked like her hair got done, took 30 minutes. You say, man, I can't afford her. Look, my shoes have holes in them. There's always been this economy of men understanding, if I'm gonna talk to her, I need to have my stuff together. That's not new. Mm-hmm. What started to happen is that the guys did not have their stuff together and they started to get that girl. Mm-hmm. So they looked around and said, what is the improvement for? They're coming my way anyway.
Okay.
This is my posture on that.
Here's where I say women are always trying to look within. Because what ended up happening is you'd have women who were single because they're not going to accept below what they feel is below what they feel they deserve.
Yeah.
And what happens is men start saying your standards are too high.
So what?
Right, but
any man who says your standard's too high is a man who can't meet your standard.
Right, but so
I've heard a lot of people say, "Man, Ferraris are too expensive." It's because you're not buying one. And I'm happy you're saying that. You clearly identified yourself as somebody who's not in the market.
Okay, would you? This might be a bit of a jump, but would you blame a woman who chooses a relationship that becomes abusive and say it was her choice to enter that relationship?
Whoa.
Well, no, because
you never blame a victim in the form of. I don't think we're talking about. I mean, look.
Well, no, but from the same token, I mean, there are. I agree, right? In a perfect scenario, if women have a standard for men, they would never date a man who's below that standard. Therefore, the standard would rise.
Point blank period.
Right. However, I think that that's a simplification. I mean, you are,
but it's not.
You're conditioned from the time that you're a child to see what relationships look like.
And nobody's perfect, and you're looking for somebody who...
Yeah, but the standard is still the standard.
Sure, but there's also a lot of men who present themselves very well until you get to know them better, and by that point you're invested.
No. See that last part right there? And then by that point you're invested is your own personal decision. I'll tell you what, the person who runs away lives to fight another day, okay? The moment, at the very instant, at the very moment, at the very second, at the very millimeter of a moment that you realize, you know what, this is not what I thought it was, run.
Okay, but you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. No, you first started saying the project and the issue with women.
You're taking on projects.
You were talking about the school. Stick it out. Women need to stick it out. And the first sign that things are not going your way, you're leaving. But then you're saying, if it's from the moment, the instant, you gotta go. And so women are now taking that advice. Okay, the minute, the instant that I see something, I am gone. Peace.
Surely we have to have nuance here.
And so now 45% of women between the ages of 25 to 40 something are saying, I am not doing it. If someone comes along, this unicorn that comes along, sure. If Barack Obama, if Russell Wilson comes, I'll see how it goes.
Surely we have to have nuance. When we're talking about, again, my answer was in response to somebody talking about men presenting themselves not as they are. Okay? Mm-hmm. My commentary about the difficulty of partnership is in the misassumption of how easily this would fit. Not that I'm working with somebody that is tangibly different than I thought I was meeting.
I see.
That's the nuance I'm making. So for example, everything about you is just as true as it was when we met. This is a harder fit than I thought though. It's going to be a bit more interesting to get this one linked up. Not, we met, you weren't an abuser, now you've hit me. Not, we met, you owned your own home, now you don't. Not, you used to live alone, now you have roommates. Not, you used to have no kids, now you have two. No, I'm talking about those.
Yeah. Shout out to, what's his name, Tyler from Love is Blind.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, because there's difficulties in partnership where, yeah, you are the smart, intelligent, motivated person that I thought you were. I'm surprised at how that reality is interacting with something within myself. I didn't foresee that. Let's work through that. I'm not talking about women meeting a man who's dramatically and diametrically opposed to what she thought she was meeting. And most of the time when I hear women talking about their frustration and their pain, they're expressing he's diametrically opposed to what I thought I was meeting. I did not know he was like this. That's what I hear.
Okay, but what happens if you end up marrying that person?
I don't believe in divorce, but this is, I mean...
So a lot of times people can change after they've gotten what they want.
Yeah.
And so then what do you do?
I also don't believe that, but okay.
I do think there is a sense of ownership that some men feel
once you're
with
their
marriage.
Wife.
That
okay, I don't want to ignore that because I've heard that,
right?
And I also can't ignore that because my dad is probably like that. You know, so it's definitely of that era.
Yeah.
Shouts out to the 50s.
Yeah, they feel, so this is what I mean. And a lot of us were raised by those men and women.
Yeah.
All right. Like even with my mom, just describing what we're looking for, you know, to her, we're the younger generation. Yeah. She thinks that's almost like this fairy tale. So she comes from that time where just get the best you can,
right?
You know, and work with it. It's better than being alone, right? And so there's that messaging, and then men hear those things, right? I mean, so this is why I say if we're all in the same society, we've all been pretty much told the same thing.
Yeah.
There needs to be a shift, and men are not shifting, but women are.
Okay, so I want to be very clear because I don't want my thesis to get lost.
Yes.
I am of the perception and assumption that men these days are trash.
So
no, I want to be very clear. I'm of the assumption.
That's the podcast.
All right, let's go.
I'm of the assumption and presumption that men these days are trash.
There we go. Now
where
we can have a conversation.
very much disagree as to the reason why, and where we very much disagree as to if that is a fait accompli. I do not believe that is the song in the chapter end and done. I do believe men can improve.
Wait, what? Okay, hold that.
Yeah.
What's the reason why? Because I don't know if we necessarily disagree. What's the reason why men are trash?
It's going to come up in another question.
Okay.
I honestly think today in modern society, men are trash because of the inappropriate introduction of feminism.
Oh my Lord. I was about to defend you. No, I don't.
I thought you were going to go in a different direction.
No, the inappropriate introduction. I think that we have.
Wow.
I do think that at a very core level.
Are you blaming women for being trash?
No, because I think only great men can make great men.
Thank you for listening to Opposites React episode 5. This is part 1 of a 3-part conversation about why some women have sworn off men. Stay tuned for part 2 coming to your feeds. If you like this episode, please subscribe to our feed wherever you get your podcasts, or like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube page.